Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of the Canadialog podcast. My name is Alexandre Belmar and I really hope you're doing well. And this week we'll talk about a new feature that was recently launched on Android. This is a TalkBack feature. It is called the Braille keyboard. This is quietly similar to what we can find out on iOS, the Braille screen input. So finally, we'll have the possibility using an Android phone to write down some text in Braille using our phone screen. So I'm really excited about it. So I'll be with you to show you how you can do the initial setup of this function, because yes, you'll have to perform some configurations. I'll be with you to show you the different gestures, the tutorial, and I'll also give you some tips and tricks to better use it. Enjoy! Since the time we are talking about this feature on iOS, it is finally available on Android, and I'm really excited to talk about it. And I'm talking about the possibility to type in some text directly in Braille using your phone screen. So yes, we'll see today how it works, and we'll do some testing to show you how you can use this feature the simplest way as you can use it. And to demonstrate this, I am using a Pixel XL phone running Android 10. This is a new feature available in Android Accessibility Suite, so you may need to install the version 8.2 of the Android Accessibility Suite if you want to use this. This version should be compatible with Android 5 or higher. So even if you have an old phone that it is no longer updated, you can go ahead and install the latest version of the Android Accessibility Suite and then use the Braille keyboard within a TalkBack. So I will first show you how to activate the Braille keyboard, because even if you're running TalkBack screen reader, the Braille keyboard will not going to be activated by default. You need to perform some action in order to activate it. So first thing first, let me unlock my phone.
7:08 p.m. Device unlocked.
There we go.
Thursday, May 14th.
And then let me access the global context menu in order to access the TalkBack settings. For sure, if you don't want to use the global context menu, you can go directly into your settings app. Then you can find out accessibility, then TalkBack, then settings. So in order to access the global context menu, I will flick down then right, 1, 2.
Alert global context menu. Read from top 1 of 10 in list 10
right,
items.
then let me
Double tap
flick
to active.
right until I'll find out the TalkBack settings.
Read from repeat list, spell list, copy list, screen search, TalkBack settings 7 of 10.
Here it is.
Double tap to activate.
Double tapping.
TalkBack settings. Navigate up button. Double tap to activate.
All right, then we'll try to find out an option talking about the Braille keyboard.
Top version 8 speech head version 8.2.0.303936.
So here's, by the way, the version number. So if you're running version 8.2.0, then you should be good to go with the Braille screen input.
Speed text verbose use speak password other feedback vibration feed sound feedback audio duck Braille keyboard.
Here it
Double tap
is,
to active.
the Braille keyboard. So let me double click in order to access the sub menu containing other options.
Braille keyboard. Navigate up button. Double tap to activate.
Right.
Braille keyboard. Braille keyboard. Tap to set up in list.
So
double tap to
Braille keyboard. Double tap to set up in list. So right now the Braille keyboard is not yet set up. I will choose this option a bit later on. I just want to show you the other option in there.
Language, Unified English Braille.
So the
Double tap to
language, right now we only have one choice. If I click it.
Language, ticked, Unified English Braille. Cancel. Tick, language, ticked, Unified, cancel.
And this is it.
Braille keyboard.
So if you're not using the Unified English Braille, you'll have no choice to use it. However, even if you're using Unified English Braille, you might be able to perform some other symbols for other languages. But the language option let us think about the fact that they will probably add new Braille table soon.
See all gestures. Double tap to
See all gestures. So here are the gestures for the Braille keyboard. We will talk about them a bit later on.
include all pressed dots. Each pressed dot is part of the input, even if the dot is released before other dots. On switch.
What is this option? This option, if on, tells the phone to consider all dots even if they were released before releasing all fingers. So concretely, let's say we are typing dot 1, we are holding the dot 1, and then typing dot 4 and holding, then typing dot 2 and holding. Then if we release dot 4 and 2, then continuously holding dot 1. At the time we will release dot 1, if this option is turned off, it will write the letter A. In the opposite case, if the option is on, then you will see the letter F appear. And this is the purpose of this option. So if you want to make sure that all dots being considered, if they are touched, even if they are released before releasing all dots, then you may leave this option turned on.
Include all pressed dots. Each pressed dot is part of the input, even if the dot is released before other dots. On switch.
And
double tap to
here's the
activate.
case. So the option is on. I will leave it there for now.
Reverse dots. Swap the dot positions so that dots 1 and 4 trade places. For example, off switch. Double
Okay,
tap to
so the options allowing to reverse dots is also available on Android. However, it is causing a lot of headaches because this is not only inverting the row 1 and row 3 in the Braille cell, it will also invert both columns. So if you just want to invert dot 1 and dot 3, usually when using the Braille screen input, you may ensure that you are holding the phone in landscape mode the way that your screen is facing the opposite side of you, and your right hand should be covering the USB port, usually located at the bottom of the screen, and your left hand should cover the top edge of your phone. And TalkBack does not allow usually to use the phone in a different position than the one set as default compared to iOS. And then, if you decide to turn on this option, note that columns as well as row will be invert. So if you want to be able to continue typing dot 1, 2, 3 using your left hand, you will have to flip 180 degrees the phone the way that the USB port will be covered by your left hand and the top edge by your right hand, still the way that the screen is not facing you, but the back is facing you. And this way, you'll be performing dot 1 and 4 using your 2 ring finger, dot 2 and 5 using your 2 middle fingers, and dot 3 and 6 using your index fingers. But TalkBack also provides some gestures allowing to insert a space, to delete the last entered character, to insert a new line, etc., etc. So as in iOS, if you want to insert a space, then you'll have to flick right with one finger. So if you decide to turn on this feature, if you want that it makes sense, you'll have to flip over your phone then the gestures won't follow up. So if you want to insert a space, instead of flicking right with one finger, you'll have to flick left. So really, I'm not gonna recommend to turn this option on. And so I'll greatly suggest you using the phone the way that TalkBack requires it and recommend it. So the way that the USB port will be located on the right side. So it's going to be comparable to a Perkins Braille keyboard. So dot 1 and 4 will be performed using your index fingers, dot 2 and 5 your middle fingers, dot 3 and 6 your ring fingers. The only difference is that your hand should be placed vertically and not horizontally, as is it the case when typing on a physical keyboard on a Braille display or on a Perkins Brailler. So we'll ensure that this option is still off.
Reverse dots. Swap the dot positions so that dots 1 and 4 trade places. For example, off, switch.
There we
Double
go.
tap to.
And now let me go ahead and click the Braille keyboard configuration button.
See all just language, Braille keyboard, tap to set up.
There we
Double
go.
tap to activate.
Let me double tap it.
Set up Braille keyboard. 1. Turn on Braille keyboard. Tap settings below. On the next screen, turn on TalkBack Braille keyboard. 2. Use Braille keyboard. Open your regular keyboard. Then tap the choose keyboard icon, usually at the bottom right corner. Select TalkBack Braille keyboard. If you don't see an option to switch keyboards, try installing board, the Google keyboard. Double tap to active.
Okay, so a lot of information there. We'll have 2 steps to perform in order to be able to use the Braille keyboard. The first one will be to
cancel button, settings button.
Click
Double tap
the
to
settings button in order to activate the TalkBack Braille keyboard, which is not activated by default. Second step will be to go in an edit box, then make sure that the on-screen keyboard will be shown. And then we'll have to locate and tap the change input method button in order to make the TalkBack Braille keyboard the default keyboard. And they also added that if you're unable to see the change input method button, then you may have to install Gboard, which is the Google keyboard that it is installed by default on all native Android phones. So
cancel settings button.
Let me tap
double tap to activate
settings.
Manage keyboards. Navigate up button. Double tap to activate.
There we go. Let me flick right and we'll check the available options there.
Manage keyboards. Search settings. Help and feedback. Board. Multilingual typing. Board. Multilingual typing. Switch. Disabled. 1 of 4. In list.
Okay, so here's the Gboard. It is marked as disabled not because the keyboard is disabled, but because we cannot change the settings because this is the default keyboard at this time.
TalkBack Braille keyboard. TalkBack Braille keyboard. Switch. 2 of 4.
Okay, so here's the TalkBack Braille keyboard. We don't have any mention that the keyboard is currently selected. Let me just move forward to show you something.
Braille hardware keyboard. Braille hardware keyboard. Switch. 3 of 4.
If you see this option, then make sure to be not confused with it because the hardware Braille keyboard is the keyboard provided by BrailleBack. So if you're using BrailleBack on your Android phone, then make sure to not affect this option. And really, the one you may change is
TalkBack Braille keyboard. TalkBack Braille keyboard. Switch. 2 of 4.
This is the one. So the TalkBack Braille keyboard. So let me double tap on it.
Alert note. If you restart your phone and have a screen lock set, this app can start until you unlock your phone. Cancel button.
So basically what it means, if you turn this keyboard on and you reboot your phone until your phone will be unlocked, then this keyboard will not going to be able to assist you entering your security PIN or security password.
OK button.
Let me tap OK.
Braille keyboard. Braille keyboard. Enlist. Double tap to activate.
And then we are now back into the TalkBack Braille keyboard settings.
Language. Unified English Braille.
As
double
we
tap
saw
to activate.
before, here it is. Then let me flick left just to show you that the option to configure the Braille keyboard has changed.
Braille keyboard. Double tap to
No need to configure it. If I double tap it, let's see what's going to happen.
Set up Braille keyboard. To use the Braille keyboard, open your regular keyboard, then tap the Choose Keyboard icon, usually at the bottom right corner. Select TalkBack Braille keyboard. If you don't see an option to switch keyboards, try installing board, the Google keyboard.
So only the second steps remain. So
okay.
Let me tap OK
Braille
there.
Keyboard.
Then
double tap to activate.
I think we're done with the Braille keyboard settings. So let me go to my home screen.
Home screen 1 of 3. Thursday, May. Play Store apps list.
Let me go into my apps list. I'd like to open the Note app, also called Google Keep.
App suggestions. Docs. Drive. ID. Google. Hangout. Helix. Home. Key 2x. Keep Notes.
Here it is. So Keep Note. Let me double tap.
Keep Notes. Search your notes. Edit.
At the bottom right corner of my screen, I should find out a button allowing me to generate a new text note.
New text note button.
There we go.
Note opened. Showing English, Canada, QWERTY, keyboard. Showing items 1 to 2 of 2.
And then I am displayed with the regular Gboard keyboard.
Capital J, capital G, capital delete.
Let me find out the Enter key.
Enter.
Then just under this one,
switch input method button.
Switch input
double tap
method.
To activate. Double tap and hold to long.
Let me double tap it.
Choose input method. Choose input method. Not ticked. Radio button. Braille hardware keyboard. 1 of 4.
This is not the one
items.
I want because
double tap to activate.
This one is the Braille back keyboard.
Ticked. Radio button. Board. Not ticked. Radio button. Google voice typing. Not ticked. Radio button. TalkBack Braille keyboard. 4 of 4.
So
double tap to
here's the TalkBack Braille keyboard. Let me tick this option by double tapping.
Note. Edit box for note body. In list. English. Canada. QWERTY. Keyboard hidden. Braille keyboard displayed. Swipe up with 3 fingers for more options. Double tap and hold to long press. Edit options available. Use swipe up and right to view.
Usually, the first time you will launch this Braille keyboard, you may see a tutorial explaining how to use the Braille keyboard. This is not the case here. I am unable to show you anymore the tutorial at the first launch of the TalkBack Braille keyboard. However, we can go ahead and find it out from the options menu. And in your case, if you're absolutely unable to get it out at the first launch of the Braille keyboard, go ahead and open the options menu. So as explained, you will have to flick up 3 finger when the phone is in landscape mode, the screen facing the opposite side of you, and your right hand covering the USB port. So basically, 3 fingers left if your phone is still in portrait mode.
Braille keyboard options. Switch to uncontracted Braille. Seal gestures. Open tutorial. 3 of 4.
Here it
double
is.
Double tap to activate.
Open tutorial. Let me double tap.
Note. Braille keyboard tutorial. Out of list.
Let me flick right.
With the Braille keyboard, you can tap your screen to enter 6-Braille. Only Unified English Braille is currently supported. To type Braille, you need to hold and use your phone differently. Next button. Double tap to activate.
Perfect. We are prompted that the Braille keyboard only support for now the English Unified Braille.
Next button. Starting now, you won't be able to use regular TalkBack gestures. TalkBack isn't available while using the Braille keyboard. First, turn your phone so that the screen is facing away from you. Next, rotate the phone horizontally to landscape position. Your hands should grip the short ends of the phone. Your right hand should hold the end with the USB port. Rest your 3 middle fingers on the screen, and use your little finger and thumb to support the phone. When you're ready, double tap the screen to continue. To exit Braille keyboard, swipe down toward the ground with 3 fingers. This switches back to your original keyboard.
So here is exactly what I've explained.
First, turn your phone so that the screen is facing away from.
I will mute it because when we're not performing any kind of action, the phone repeats the tutorial just in case you missed something. So as I explained, we are invited to hold the phone in landscape mode, the screen facing away, and the right hand covering the USB port, and they are also recommending to hold the phone using your thumb and little fingers to leave the 3 middle finger free. However, I'm not gonna necessarily recommend that because this is not really comfortable. Personally, I am just holding the phone in sandwich between my two hands palm, and this is it. So let me unmute the phone on the mixer.
Your right hand should hold the end with the USB port. Rest your 3 middle fingers on the screen and use your little finger and thumb to support the phone.
And
when you're ready, double tap the screen to continue.
So
to
when
exit
ready,
Braille keyboard, swipe down toward the ground with 3 fingers. This switches back to your original keyboard.
Okay, so when ready, double tap the screen with 1 finger.
Keep the screen faced away from you. Hold your phone in both hands, on the short edges of the phone, so that the middle 3 fingers of each hand can touch the screen. Your left index finger should be on dot 1. Now, tap dot 1 to type the letter A.
There we go. So now, using the left index, we should type the letter A.
A. Next, try typing the letters B, C, and D.
So we are getting some confirmation using the lock screen sound.
Tap dots 1, 2 to type the letter B.
Yeah, okay, type dots 1, 2 for the B.
B. Tap dots 1, 4 to type the letter C.
1, 4, 2 indexes.
C. Tap dots 1, 4, 5 to type the letter D.
And let's say I'm typing the wrong thing.
Dots 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap dots 1, 4, 5 to type the letter D.
Like
dots 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
That's not working. So let me type.
Tap dots 1, 4, 5 to type the letter D.
1, 4, 5. There we go.
D. To delete a letter, swipe left. Try it now.
So swipe left to delete.
Deleted. To add a space, swipe right. Try it now.
Swiping right, like as if the phone was in portrait. Swiping
to
down.
add a space, swipe right. Try space. To hide the keyboard, swipe down with 2 fingers. Try it now.
Hiding the keyboard, it will not gonna disable the Braille keyboard.
To hide
However,
the keyboard.
Yep. However, it will just disable the edit mode, so you can start using again the standard TalkBack gestures. So let me go ahead and flick down with 2 fingers.
Hide keyboard. Usually, this will hide the keyboard. The Braille keyboard will stay open because you're still in the tutorial. To switch to your other keyboard, swipe down with 3 fingers. Try it now.
So if you want to disable the TalkBack Braille keyboard, then you can do it and it will return to
switch to your other
Gboard.
keyboard, swipe down with 3 fingers. Next keyboard. Usually, this will switch to the next keyboard. This time, you're staying in the Braille keyboard because you're still in the tutorial. To finish the tutorial, you'll open the options menu. Swipe up with 3 fingers to show more options. Try it now.
So the options menu, this is where we were when we decided to activate the
To
tutorial.
finish the tutorial,
So
you'll open the options menu.
up.
Swipe up with 3 fingers. The options menu is open. Flip your phone back and hold it normally. You can now use regular TalkBack gestures to navigate. Swipe right to find the finish tutorial option. Braille keyboard options. Switch to uncontracted Braille, 1 of 4, in list,
So
4
now
items.
back.
Double tap to activate.
Now back in portrait, let me flick right.
See, you'll just finish tutorial. Showing Braille keyboard. Rotate
And
your phone
double tap.
horizontally to landscape position with screen facing out to start typing.
Okay, and now we are ready to type in some text. And this is what I'm going to do. However, note that the contracted Braille will be turned on by default. So let me show you. I'm pressing the dot 6 first.
Cap. H. E. L. L. O. Hello. Cap. I. Apostrophe M. I'm. D. O. Ing.
So when I press dot 3, 4, 6, I got hing for the contraction.
Doing. A. A. S. H.
So this is for dots 1, 4, 6.
O. R. T. Short. T. E. Street.
Yeah, it says street. This is due to the TTS,
Full stop. Test.
but it wrote test. So there we go. If you want to disable the contraction, then you may access again the option menu. 3 fingers up,
Braille keyboard options. Switch to uncontracted Braille, 1 of 4.
then
in list,
click this
4
option.
Switched to uncontracted Braille.
And then I can continue typing.
Cap. Cap. E. L. Well. T. A. I. S. This. I. S. Is. F. A. T. A. S. T. I. C. Exclamation mark.
There we go. And now, if I want to see what I've wrote, I can just hide the TalkBack Braille keyboard using a 2-finger swipe down.
Braille keyboard hidden. Keep notes.
Then now I can rotate my phone back in portrait mode.
Add button. Add. Undo. Redo.
Oh,
Hello,
I'm
I'm
too
doing
far.
a short test. Well, this is fantastic. Edit box. Note for note body. In list.
And
Double tap and hold to long press. Edit options available.
this is it. So now I can, for sure, for example, if it is, I can like read back the text. This is what I'm gonna do. Let me find out the character granularity.
Characters. Capital H, E, L, L, O, space, capital I, right single, M, space,
Oh, I skipped the apostrophe. That's fine.
D, O, I, N, G, space, A, space, S, H, O, R, T, space, T, E, S, T, full stop, space, capital W, E, L, L, space, T, H, I, S, space, I, S, F, A, N, T, A, S, T, I, C, exclamation mark.
Wow, incredible. Then,
Words.
if I double tap again,
Fantastic.
the edit box,
Braille keyboard displayed.
automatically the Braille keyboard will be displayed, and this will be the case in all edit box until you decide to change the default keyboard back for something else than the TalkBack Braille keyboard. Let's say, for example, Gboard. Even if we are now at the middle of the text, if I'm continuing
Fantastic.
typing, I just insert a space, but the space was entered after fantastic. I can continue.
Cap. Capital L, E, X, Alex.
Then I can also navigate by character without having to disable the Braille keyboard by using the volume keys.
Space. X, E, L,
So volume down
Lima.
brings the focus one character's previous.
Capital A, space, exclamation mark, C, I,
And then if I
India.
press the volume up, it will move forward a character.
I, C, exclamation, space, capital A, L, E, X, Ray, space, end of field.
There we go. Now when pressing the volume button, I am hearing the hand sound. And this is it. If now I decide to change keyboard by flicking down 3 fingers,
Showing English, Canada, QWERTY, keyboard. Keep
Now-
notes.
the regular keyboard is now shown back on the screen
J,
and will
Delete.
now be the default
Enter.
keyboard for
switch input method, button, double tap to activate.
all next editing tasks. And if I want to switch back to the Braille keyboard,
Enter. Switch input method,
switch input
choose
method
input method, choose input
under
method.
the enter key.
Not ticked, ticked, radio button, not ticked, radio button, Google Voice type, not ticked, radio button, TalkBack. Braille keyboard displayed. Cap. Capital N, D, and, cap, upon, dots 1, 3, 4, I'm, R, E, A, dot 4, Y, Y, deleted. Deleted. A, D, Y, ready, T, O, 2, T, Y, P, E, T, A, I, N, exclamation mark, again.
And this is it. So I can continue typing in Braille, which is much faster than using the on-screen keyboard. And for sure, you will have more control on what you're typing compared that if you're using the dictation function. So, well, this is a really, really interesting feature. Let me show you the complete list of gestures. So let me go back into the options menu, 3-finger flick ups.
Braille keyboard off, see all gestures, 2 of 4.
Then
Double tap to activate.
see all gestures.
Braille keyboard gestures, to add a space, swipe right, in list.
We did it a couple of times already.
To delete, swipe left. For a new line, swipe right with 2 fingers.
So yes, if you want to insert a new line, you need to swipe right with 2 fingers.
To delete a word, swipe left with 2 fingers.
To delete a word, so the last word you typed, you can delete it with 2 fingers flick left. Exactly the same thing as on iOS.
To hide the keyboard, swipe down with 2 fingers.
To hide the keyboard without changing the default keyboard, or to just like close the edit box and continue using regular TalkBack gestures, then you can perform a 2 fingers swipe down.
To switch to the next keyboard, swipe down with 3 fingers.
Then we just did it. If you want to change the default keyboard to, let's say, reactivate the Gboard keyboard, or even the Samsung in some cases. Anyway, you may perform a 3 fingers flick down.
To submit text, swipe up with 2 fingers.
Submitting text, this is quietly useful in a text area like into the message app. So if you're writing down a message, you just want to send it out quickly or something in Messenger or things like this, then you can submit the input by flicking up with 2 fingers without the need of hiding the TalkBack Braille keyboard and flicking right until you reach the send button and double tap to activate.
For help and other options, swipe up with 3 fingers.
And this is exactly where we are. So into the options menu, you can access it by swiping up with 3 fingers.
Done button.
Let me click the done button.
Braille keyboard options. Switch to contracted Braille, 1 of 4.
So into the options menu, we have like the possibility to turn on or off the contracted Braille mode.
See all gestures, 2 of 4.
See all
Double tap
gestures.
to
This
activate.
is where we were in a moment.
Open tutorial, 3 of 4.
The tutorial.
Settings, 4 of 4.
And
Double
the
tap to activate.
settings, these are the ones we saw into the TalkBack settings under Braille keyboard.
Cancel button.
Then the cancel.
Braille keyboard displayed.
Then now, if I want to go out of there and be able to click my home button, I won't be able to do it until I will not perform the hide Braille keyboard or either the change keyboard gesture. But personally, because I want to be able to use the Braille keyboard each time I am accessing an edit field by double tapping on it, I want to use the Braille keyboard, so I will just hide the keyboard by performing a 2-finger swipe down.
Braille keyboard hidden. Keep notes.
There we go. Then now I can use the regular TalkBack gestures and find out the home button.
Home button.
There we
Home
go.
screen 2 of 3.
And now,
double tap to active.
flicking right with 1 finger.
ID.
That's working, so I'm able to use my regular gestures. Note that compared to iOS, the Braille keyboard will not gonna be helpful in any situation if the focus is placed on your home screen to find out quickly an app, or if you are browsing the web to navigate by using a quick letter navigation. This is not an option there with the TalkBack Braille keyboards. I'm not sure it's going to be a possibility, unfortunately. I really hope so, but well, I'm not sure Android allows to pop a Braille keyboard on the home screen as it is the case for iOS, knowing that the Braille screen input feature is integrated directly into the operating system, which is not the case for Android. And also note that if you're using another screen reader like the voice assistant, the Braille keyboard will not going to be available. However, for sure, you can always switch to TalkBack, especially on Samsung. There is a shortcut allowing to quickly switch to another screen reader or an accessibility feature by pressing power and volume up. So maybe you can have a look to your accessibility settings if you're using another screen reader to find a way to quickly switch to the TalkBack screen reader. I think this is it. I really hope Android will push some improvement to this great feature. And since many years I was I don't want to use an Android because the Braille keyboard, the on-screen Braille keyboard is not available. So please do something. And finally, we got a solution allowing to type in directly in Braille on our phone screen. So this is just fantastic. I'm really happy to see that they did this development. And really, I will use it, I think, on a daily basis. And to be honest, this was one of the missing feature that was retaining me on iOS, but now that this is available, well, I am thinking more than ever about migrating all my stuff from iOS environment to the Android environment, especially knowing that since August, September, since they have released iOS 13, well, yes, they have provided a lot of interesting features in regards to the accessibility, but they are not making our life easier by not correcting accessibility issues that they have introduced in this version. So, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but now that the Braille screen input is available on Android, oof, I'm so happy of it. So I really hope you find this podcast helpful and that you will start using this great new feature of the Android Accessibility Suite. For sure, if you have some questions, comment, or suggestions, feel free to contact us. And also, if you need some training or technical support on assistive technologies, feel free to contact us. We'll be more than happy to assess your need and send you a quotation. This was Alexandre Benma, and talk to you in another podcast episode. Before ending this podcast, we would like to thank you for your loyalty to this series of podcasts on assistive technologies. We would also like to thank our loyal collaborators. As a reminder, I would like to inform you that Canadialog will not offer free technical support on product presented during these shows and that are not sold directly by Canadialog. Note that Canadialog offers private or group training as well as technical assistance services. Bill on an hourly basis. Contact us to get a quote adapted to your need or to find out more. Our podcasts are available on several popular platforms as on iTunes, Google Podcast, YouTube, TuneIn, Victor, etc. Visit our website accessible at canadialog.com, canadialog.com for more details. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments related to this podcast series, please contact us by email at podcastwithans@canadialog.com. That is podcasts at canadialog.com. You can also reach us by phone on our toll-free number at 1-888-730-0003, extension 555. Feel free to check out Canadialog on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening.